Most people believe their money problems are about numbers, how much they earn, how much they spend, and whether the math adds up. But the real issue, and the most overlooked one, begins in the mind. Your relationship with money is not just a product of your income or job title. It is shaped by the beliefs, habits, and emotional patterns that you developed long before you ever opened a bank account. Think about it. The way you feel about money, whether you chase it, fear it, avoid it, or obsess over it, is largely unconscious. And that unconscious programming usually starts in childhood. For example, if you grew up in a home where money was always tight and arguments about bills were constant, you may have developed a deep association between money and stress. Without realizing it, you might now carry that tension into adulthood, constantly feeling anxious no matter how much you earn. On the flip side, someone else may have grown up in a wealthy household, but was taught that talking about money was rude or greedy. That person might now subconsciously avoid managing their finances or asking for what they're worth simply because they feel uncomfortable dealing with money at all. These inherited beliefs form the foundation of your money mindset, a lens through which you view and interact with all financial decisions. LewisHowes often speaks about the power of rewiring these mental patterns. He emphasizes that if you don't examine and upgrade your internal script about money, you will keep repeating the same emotional reactions even if your external circumstances change. This is why so many lottery winners go broke and why some people with high income still live paycheck to paycheck. Their mindset hasn't changed, so their behaviors remain stuck in cycles of scarcity, fear, or self-sabotage. To begin transforming your relationship with money, the first step is awareness. Ask yourself, what did I learn about money growing up? Was money talked about openly or treated as taboo? Did I learn that having money makes you greedy or that being poor makes you humble? These early lessons become mental shortcuts that influence your financial choices today. Once you're aware of those patterns, the next step is reframing. Instead of seeing money as a source of stress, begin to view it as a tool. Neutral, powerful, and completely manageable. Money's not good or bad, it's simply a resource. When you change your perception, you change your emotional reaction. You go from avoidance to attention, from fear to control. Practicing this mindset shift doesn't mean ignoring financial challenges. It means approaching them with clarity and calm, not panic. When you believe that money is something you can learn to manage rather than something that controls you, you start making better decisions. You educate yourself. You ask for help. You stop comparing your financial journey to others and focus on growth instead of guilt. LewisHowes also highlights the importance of setting financial intentions. This is where mindset becomes action. When you operate from a mindset of abundance, believing that there are enough opportunities, resources, and time to create wealth, you begin to act with discipline and vision. You budget not because you're broke, but because you respect your money. You invest not because you're greedy, but because you believe in your future. The relationship you have with money is a reflection of the relationship you have with yourself. If you believe you are worthy of peace, stability, and growth, you will treat your finances with care and intentionality. You'll stop avoiding the hard conversations and start embracing the tools that lead to freedom, like learning how to save, how to build credit, and how to develop multiple income streams. So if you're constantly stressed about money, the solution doesn't start with a raise, a loan, or a new side hustle. It starts with your thoughts. It starts with challenging your beliefs and choosing to see money not as your enemy, but as your responsibility and ally. When you take ownership of your mindset, your behaviors follow. And when your behaviors change, your results begin to shift, slowly, steadily, and powerfully. That is the beginning of true financial transformation, not from the outside in, but from the inside out. When we think about wealth, most people immediately think in terms of numbers, how much is in your bank account, your salary, your investments, or your net worth. But one of the most powerful truths you can learn is that real wealth is not rooted in your net worth. It's rooted in your self-worth. Your financial reality often mirrors how you see yourself. If you constantly undervalue who you are, you will unconsciously limit your income, your opportunities, and even your ability to receive and hold on to money. This idea may seem abstract, but it has very real consequences. People who struggle with low self-worth tend to undercharge for their services, avoid negotiating salaries, stay in jobs where they are underpaid and undervalued, and often sabotage their own progress. Why? Because they don't believe they deserve better. You can have all the financial tools in the world, but if you don't believe you're worthy of abundance, you will not hold on to it or even pursue it in the first place. LewisHowes emphasizes that one of the greatest shifts you can make in your financial life is learning to raise your internal value. Your sense of worth shapes the energy you carry into every financial interaction. It determines how confidently you speak about your skills, how assertively you ask for compensation, and how boldly you invest in yourself. And this isn't just about confidence on the surface, it's about truly believing that you are valuable, that your work matters, and that you deserve to live a life free from financial fear. His belief must be cultivated intentionally. Many people have grown up with messages that chipped away at their self-worth. Money doesn't grow on trees. Be grateful for what you have. People like us don't become rich. These messages, even if well-meaning, often taught us to settle, to play small, and to distrust ambition. They convinced us that wanting more was wrong, or that we weren't the kind of people who succeed financially. But those messages aren't truths. They're inherited limitations. You have to unlearn those stories and replace them with new beliefs that serve you. Begin telling yourself, I add value, my time is worth something, I am capable of growing and earning more. These aren't empty affirmations, they are declarations of dignity. They remind you that money is not about greed or status, it's about freedom, choices, and the ability to serve others at a higher level. When you raise your self-worth, everything begins to change. You stop tolerating financial chaos and start building systems. You stop waiting for someone to rescue you and begin taking responsibility. You make better decisions, not just about spending, but about earning, saving, and investing. Why? Because people who value themselves protect their future. They build security not out of fear, but out of respect for their own potential. And here's another truth. The market will often pay you in direct proportion to the problems you solve, the confidence you exude, and the leadership you bring to your space. If you doubt yourself, others will too. If you show up with clarity and conviction, people take notice. This doesn't mean faking it. It means doing the deep inner work to believe in your worth and then allowing your actions to reflect that belief. Raising your self-worth also means setting boundaries. You start saying no to clients who underpay, to employers who exploit, and to situations that drain your energy. You start surrounding yourself with people who respect you, challenge you, and inspire you. Financial growth is not just about adding money. It's also about subtracting the things that keep you small. There is no shame in wanting to earn more. The desire for financial abundance can come from a deeply ethical place. The desire to care for your family, to contribute to your community, to create something meaningful in the world, but you can't fulfill that vision if you secretly believe you're not good enough. The work begins within. So, if you're stressed about money, ask yourself, do I truly believe I deserve more? Not in an entitled way, but in a grounded, empowered way. Do I carry myself like someone who adds value? Do I take responsibility for my growth? And do I protect my peace? These questions may be uncomfortable, but they are necessary, because when your self-worth rises, your financial life will start to rise with it, not as a coincidence, but as a reflection of who you've decided to become. Many people feel overwhelmed or even defeated by money because they believe they're simply not good with it. They think managing finances is something you're either born understanding or not, but this is one of the greatest myths that keeps people stuck. The truth is, financial literacy is a skill, not a talent. It's something you can learn, practice, and master over time, just like reading, driving, or learning a new language. It's empowering because it means your current financial situation is not permanent. It is not a life sentence. It's simply a reflection of what you know right now. And if you're willing to learn, everything can change. LewisHowes emphasizes that money doesn't care where you come from, what mistakes you've made, or how little you started with. Money responds to how well you understand it and how wisely you handle it. Just think about it. No one is born knowing how to budget, invest, pay off debt, or build wealth. These are skills that need to be taught, but unfortunately, most of us didn't learn them in school. Instead, we grew up hearing vague advice like save your money, but rarely were we taught how to. As a result, many people reach adulthood financially unprepared, making decisions based on guesswork, emotion, or what their peers are doing. But the good news is it's never too late to learn. In fact, the moment you decide to become financially literate is the moment you begin to take control of your life. Financial literacy gives you the power to make informed decisions, to plan instead of panic, and to stop living paycheck to paycheck. It turns money from a source of stress into a source of strength. One of the first steps in financial education is understanding how money flows in your life. This starts with creating a budget, not as a punishment, but as a plan. A budget is simply a reflection of your priorities. It tells your money money where to go instead of wondering where it went. When you learn to track your income and expenses, you begin to see patterns. You notice what's helping you move forward and what's holding you back. Remember, money is not a mystery to solve, it's a language to learn. And once you become fluent, you stop being intimidated by it. You start using it with purpose. The more you learn, the less you fear. The less you fear, the more confident you become. And that confidence leads to consistency, growth, and eventually lasting peace around money. Everyone has a money story. Whether you're aware of it or not, your beliefs, habits, and emotions around money have been shaped by years of experiences, conversations, and observations, especially in your early years. That story is the invisible script running in the background of your life. And for many people, it's not a helpful one. It's full of fear, guilt, scarcity, and self-doubt. If you want to change your financial future, you have to start by healing that story. The money story you live by is often inherited, not chosen. You may have grown up hearing phrases like, money doesn't grow on trees, we can't afford that, or rich people are greedy. Maybe you watched your parents argue about bills, or you saw one person in the family bear the weight of all financial responsibilities while others avoided it. Maybe experienced poverty, or perhaps your family had wealth but attached shame or control to it. Whatever the case, those early exposures shape how you think and feel about money today. These beliefs run deep, and until you bring them to the surface, they will continue to influence your decisions, how you spend, save, give, and earn. For example, if you subconsciously believe that having money makes you selfish, you might sabotage your own success without realizing it. If you were taught that there's never enough, you might hold on to money with fear, even when generosity or investment could bring growth. If you've been told you're not good with money, you might avoid learning, assuming it's too late or too complicated. The healing process begins with awareness. Start by asking yourself, what messages did I absorb about money growing up? How did the adults in my life handle finances? What patterns do I repeat? Writing these down can be incredibly revealing. You might find that your current struggles aren't just about math, they're about meaning. You might realize you're operating from a place of lack, shame, or even rebellion, all tied to a money script you never chose. Once you've identified the story, you can begin to rewrite it. That doesn't mean denying your past or pretending trauma didn't happen. It means understanding it, honoring it, and then consciously deciding what you want to believe going forward. Just like a book can be edited, your money mindset can be rewritten. You get to define what money means to you. You get to decide whether it's a source of stress or a tool for growth. You get to choose whether it controls you or serves you. Part of healing your money story also involves forgiving yourself. Maybe you've made financial mistakes, racked up debt, missed payments, spent impulsively, or avoided responsibility. But shame doesn't build wealth. Education and compassion do. You can't move forward if you're constantly punishing yourself for the past. Acknowledge your mistakes, learn from them, and commit to doing better. That's how growth works, not through perfection, but through progress. It's also important to recognize that healing your money story isn't just about your relationship with dollars and cents, it's about your relationship with yourself. When you heal your money story, you start to believe that you're worthy of success. You start to trust yourself to make wise decisions. You begin to see money not as a symbol of identity or value, but as a tool, neutral, flexible, and capable of being directed with purpose. Surrounding yourself with healthy financial influences can also accelerate this healing. Find mentors, books, or communities that talk about money with clarity, honesty, and encouragement, not fear or judgment. Learn from people who've been where you are and move forward. And as you grow, share what you learn with others. Teaching, even informally, helps reinforce your own growth and contributes to breaking generational cycles. Healing your money story is not an event, it's a journey. It happens over time with intention. Some days you'll feel empowered, other days you'll revert to old thinking. That's okay. What matters is that you're doing the work. Each time you choose clarity over fear, awareness over avoidance, and responsibility over blame, you reclaim another piece of your power. Money doesn't define you, but how you relate to it shapes much of your life. So take the time to understand your story. Heal the wounds, break the cycles, and write a new chapter. One based on truth, abundance, and freedom. One of the most powerful realizations you can have on your financial journey is this: your past does not define your potential. Maybe you grew up in an environment where no one talked about money in a healthy way. Maybe budgeting, saving, or investing were foreign concepts in your household. Perhaps financial chaos was the norm. time, bills paid late, debt stacking up, no savings and no plans. If that was your experience, it's easy to assume that you're doomed to repeat it. But that assumption is false. You are not a prisoner of your upbringing. You can build new habits even if no one taught you how. Habits are not inherited, they're created. And the best news is they are created through repetition, not perfection. You don't need to get everything right from the beginning. You just need to start small, be consistent, and stay committed to the process. The idea that people who manage money well are just born that way is a myth. Most people who have strong financial habits built them one decision at a time, often after years of doing it the wrong way. It's not about where you start, it's about what you're willing to learn and apply consistently. Maybe no one ever taught you how to track your spending. That doesn't mean you can't learn today. Maybe you never saw anyone in your family save for the future. That doesn't mean you can't build your own emergency fund now. Maybe you've always felt overwhelmed by terms like investing, interest rates, or credit scores. That doesn't mean you're incapable of understanding them. It just means no one has explained them to you in a way that connects. And now's the time to change that. The foundation of any new habit is awareness. You have to know what's not working before you can replace it with something better. Begin by observing your current habits without judgment. What do you do when you get paid? Do you spend emotionally or plan intentionally? Are you tracking where your money goes or just hoping there's enough left at the end of the month? Be honest with yourself, not to shame yourself, but to free yourself. Clarity is the first step toward change. Once you've identified your habits, begin introducing new ones gradually. Start with something simple, like set aside 10 minutes every week to review your finances, or commit to tracking every dollar you spend for a month, or automate a small amount of savings with every paycheck. These changes may seem minor, but they create momentum. When done consistently, they lay the groundwork for bigger habits like investing, paying off debt, or building multiple streams of income. What's important to understand is that new habits are not built through willpower alone. They're built through systems. For example, if you want to save more money, make it automatic. Set up a transfer that moves a fixed amount into savings the moment your paycheck hits. That way, you don't have to rely on memory or discipline, it just happens. If you want to stop impulse spending, unsubscribe from promotional emails, delete shopping apps, or use cash for daily expenses. Set up your environment to support your success. Of course, creating new habits will feel uncomfortable at first. That's normal. You're literally rewiring your brain and shifting emotional patterns that may have been there for decades. But discomfort is not a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's often a sign that you're growing. Stay with the process. When you mess up, and you will, don't quit. Reflect, adjust, and keep moving. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to do things differently than the people who raised you. You are allowed to break generational cycles. You are allowed to become the first person in your family to build wealth, understand money, and live with financial peace. You don't need permission. You just need to decide. And remember, even the smallest new habit, when repeated over time, becomes powerful. The person who saves $10.00 a week will have more than the person who keeps waiting until they can save $100.00. The person who tracks their spending will understand their patterns better than someone who avoids them. The person who reads one book about money this month will know more than they did last month. Small steps, big impact. You may not have grown up with good financial habits, but you can grow into them now. You can be the one who changes the story. You can build new habits that serve you, your future, and the people you love. And in doing so, you won't just change your life, you'll change what's possible for generations to come. It's easy to believe that you must wait for your financial problems to be solved before you can feel peace or hope. Many people fall into the trap of thinking that gratitude and vision are luxuries reserved only for those who are financially secure. But the truth is, you don't have to wait until you make it to start cultivating a mindset that empowers you, even in the middle of a financial struggle. Even when the numbers don't look good, you can choose to live with gratitude and build a vision for your future. In fact, doing so is essential for breaking free from the very stress that keeps you stuck. Gratitude is not denial. It's not pretending everything is okay when it's not. It's not ignoring your unpaid bills or brushing off financial pressure. Gratitude simply shifts your focus to what is present, what is good, and what is working, even if it's small. Maybe you don't have the income you want right now, but you have the ability to learn. Maybe you have a roof over your head today. Maybe your car is old, but it gets you where you need to go. Gratitude is about choosing to see the full picture, not just the gaps, but also the gifts. When you practice gratitude consistently, it rewires your brain. Instead of obsessing over what you lack, you begin to see what's possible. It builds emotional resilience, which is one of the most underrated financial tools out there. Why? Because when you're constantly stressed or defeated, your decision making suffers. You panic, you numb, you procrastinate. But when you are grounded in gratitude, you think more clearly. You make choices from a place of strength instead of scarcity. At the same time, holding a vision for your future is just as important. Vision is what gives your actions meaning. It's what reminds you that your current struggle is not your permanent story. Without vision, it's easy to lose motivation and fall into survival mode. But with vision, every small step feels like it's moving you towards something greater, even if it's slow, even if it's messy. Vision is the fuel that keeps you going when things feel hard. Some people fear that having a vision while they're still struggling makes them unrealistic, but in reality, it's the opposite. Vision makes your struggle purposeful. It's what allows you to say, yes, I'm in a tough place right now, but I know where I'm going. I know why I'm fighting. I know what I'm building. Vision doesn't ignore your present. It redefines it. It says this challenge is part of my journey, not the end of it. Gratitude and vision together are a powerful combination. Gratitude keeps you rooted in the moment. Vision pulls you forward. One gives you peace, the other gives you purpose. And both can live in your life at the same time. You can be deeply grateful for what you have and still work hard for what you want. You can honor your current reality and still believe in a better future. These ideas are not in conflict, they complement each other. This mindset is what separates people who grow from people who stay stuck. The ones who grow don't wait for perfect circumstances to start being thankful. They don't wait for a big paycheck to start dreaming. They find something to be grateful for today and they take steps toward a better tomorrow. They understand that their attitude is part of their wealth building strategy because how you think drives how you act, and how you act determines where you end up. LewisHowes often speaks about the power of inner peace and clarity in achieving external success. Money can amplify who you are, but it cannot replace mindset. If you learn to manage your thoughts, your focus, and your emotions now, when things are hard, you'll be far more capable when things improve. You'll build a foundation of strength that no amount of money can buy. So if you're in a place of financial stress right now, know this. It's okay to want more while appreciating what you already have. It's okay to dream big even if you're just starting out. It's okay to be tired, but still take one small step forward. Practicing gratitude doesn't mean settling. It means stabilizing your heart while you rise. Holding a vision doesn't mean escaping. It means empowering your mind with a direction. You are not weak for struggling. You are not naive for hoping. You are not foolish for believing that better is possible. Gratitude and vision are your tools. Use them daily. They will carry you further than you ever imagined, not just to financial freedom, but to a deeper sense of joy and fulfillment along the way. Certainly, here's a powerful educational style conclusion that ties together all 6 keynotes of the speech, titled, "If you stress about money, watch this." LewisHowes, at the heart of financial freedom is not just income or assets, it's awareness, healing, discipline, and vision. If you've been carrying stress about money, you are not alone. But now you've been given the tools to begin rewriting your financial story. You've learned that your emotions around money are not flaws, they are signals. Signals that something deeper is asking to be healed. Avoiding the under stress or numbing it won't change your situation, but leaning into that discomfort, understanding its roots, and choosing to educate yourself will. You now understand that financial literacy is not just for the wealthy. It's the very path that leads to wealth. Education is your edge. The more you learn, the more choices you gain. And when you pair knowledge with action, you don't just change your bank account, you change your mindset and your future. You see that the story you've carried about money, whether inherited, shaped by hardship, or rooted in fear, can be changed. You are not locked into the script you were given. You have the right and the power to write a new one, and with that, the power to heal generational patterns. Even if you didn't grow up with strong financial habits, you can build them now. Starting small, is not a weakness, it's wisdom. The most sustainable change begins with simple steps done consistently. Every time you choose responsibility over reaction, clarity over chaos, you take one step closer to peace. And perhaps most importantly, you've discovered that your current financial condition does not disqualify you from living with gratitude or dreaming with bold vision. You can be grateful and ambitious. You can struggle and grow. You can feel pressure and still rise above it. This is the mindset LewisHowes encourages, one that is rooted in truth, resilience, and the belief that no matter where you are starting, you have what it takes to change your life. So the next time you feel stressed about money, pause, breathe, reflect, remind yourself of what you've learned here. Stress is not your enemy, it's your invitation.